Welcome to All Things Social Security. Enjoy your video. TGIF and special thank you to our deployed military members who are not able to be home like most of us can be. It is Red Friday, and many of us thank you every day, but specifically on Red Friday. And of course, our Red Friday here is also Fraud Law Review Day. So here's the one for today. The title is Man Admits Using False Identity for Decades to Evade Arrest and Collect Social Security. So let's see. He pled guilty, so I'm going to say the name. Leslie K. Peterson, age 72. Now, Mr. Peterson, I would not have said his name if he was not yet pled guilty, because I would give him the presumption of innocence until proven guilty, and his admission is good. So let's move along. He was living in Mexico, a town called La Paz, and let's see what else he did. He admitted that he created a false identity in the 1970s to evade a warrant. That's the bird. Sorry, guys. To evade warrant for his arrest and illegally collect Social Security. In his plea agreement, Mr. Peterson, age 72, admitted that he used a forged birth certificate to apply for a new Social Security number under the name of Ronald Allen Steele to avoid arrest after he violated terms of his probation for robbery in 1978. Okay. The SSA assigned the Mr. Steele a Social Security number in 1978. And after fleeing the country, Peterson used his new false identity to apply for a United States passport in Honduras. In 2018, he applied for retirement insurance benefits from the Social Security Administration as Steele and collected his benefits while living as a permanent resident in Mexico. Once officials discovered his deception, Peterson was arrested while crossing the border on November 23rd, 2025. Wow, pretty recently, using the fraudulently issued passport and the Steele identity. He has remained in custody ever since. As part of his plea agreement, Peterson has agreed to pay restitution to the Social Security Administration in the amount of $130,000 and change, representing all money fraudulently paid to him as Ronald Steele since 2018. Sentencing is scheduled for April 3rd of 2026. So the questions I have about this is, so he used a forged birth certificate, but there was work earnings under that because he was able to then use that years later to collect retirement under Steele's name. So he got it. Does that mean he worked a little bit and paid some taxes? But he was in Mexico. How did he manage that part? That's what I'm curious. Or if there really is a fellow by the name of Ronald Steele who did work, was still alive and kicking, had a different Social Security number because Peterson, it says he applied for a new Social Security number under that name. Now, I'm just curious. Like, I like to get at the little, how do you do it? How did he get away with it? What else did he take? Who did you screw? Was there a real Ronald Steele who had his retirement taken? Getting letters saying, oh, thank you for applying for retirement. It's like, but I didn't. Now, yeah. He did all this in the 70s. Imagine there wasn't even computers. Well, there probably were, but not for people like us, I mean, 78, I was like 10, 11. Wow. So he was in his early 20s when he did this, Mr. Peterson. So he did they say armed robbery? What did he do? I forget. Did I say robbery or I'm not going to reread it, but anywho, I thought that was kind of like a little interesting. Like you could make a movie out of that one, couldn't you? It'll be interesting to see what he gets if we ever get to see what he gets, because as I was whining and complaining before not long ago, so I apologize if I was extra whiny, but I would like to know how these stories end. Did you ever see a story? Like, did they get the sentence and what was it? So we can make our judgment. I mean, as American people, we should be making judgments about whether our criminal justice system is working in terms of at least sentencing. Um, we used to say this about, you'd hear something on the news. Like, I remember a story about, do you remember the zoo story where a little kid falls over the fence into I want to say a gorilla uh, cage environment. And it was a tot. I mean, it was like a little kid. And I think he might have very much hurt himself, maybe banged his head and was maybe unconscious. Don't hold me to the specific facts, but it's definitely out there if you ever wanted to research it. I know. Um, and it was a big deal because there were all sorts of animals in there. And plus the kid falls on the concrete, and I think he was knocked out. I'm not sure. Anyway, the story was fascinating to everybody because a gorilla, a mama, I believe, picked up that little baby child and took him under her wing and took her away where he was safe. And then, of course, emergency came in and all that, and they retrieved the baby from her. But the way it was portrayed was she literally protected him like like a maternal instinct, took up the little baby, toddler, preschool, whatever he was, and carried him off to like her little area and just kept him safe. And after the fact, because it was a beautiful story in and of itself, but you worry, like, what happened to the child? Like, did that fall on his, did it hit to his head make him permanently damaged, or did he die? I mean, you just don't know. And you never hear the other story. They certainly don't give it the time that they gave it to the regular story, if any time at all. Definitely they didn't. And anyway, that's the kind of thing, like, we want to know the follow-up. Don't just leave us hanging because you can get us to click on you and watch your commercials. Or back in the day when this came out, it was just regular TV. But anyway, so that's why I always want to know, how does this follow up? We want to know. We want to know what happened. Did the right things happen? Did he get the right penalty? I'm sure that's debatable because we all have different opinions on how strict we should be with our sentencing. Anyway, that's my thought for the day on this one. This one isn't, we read some that are just like so heartbreaking. This one is criminal, gotta be held accountable, but it's not making me feel horrible, for somebody who's been abused, which we have some of those, as you know. Okay, guys, thank you, and I will talk to you later. Bye. And thank you again, Deployeds. We love you.